This is your dose of daily market wisdom with master trader Nick Santiago. Starting from humble beginnings, Nick has been beating the markets for over 2 decades. He shares with you his take on the profitable trades that will have you moving towards financial freedom in no time at all. To see an in-depth review of his track record and much more, go to inthemoneystocks.com. Welcome to your daily dose of daily market wisdom with master trader Nick Santiago. I'm Kerry Lutz. Today is the last day of June 2020, 6/30/2020, and this is show number 66. And Nick, what's the market doing today?
Well, today we have the markets a little bit higher. Really, the Nasdaq is leading, so that's always important. Tech has been the leader lately. Today, that's up about 0.75%, up about 70 points. You have the Dow Jones flat on the day, but it's positive. It was negative earlier, now up about $8-9. The Russell 2000 up 0.25%, and then you have the S&P 500, which I follow most closely, up about 0.4%.
And what's the volume look like? It's a typical holiday trading week?
Yeah, volume is expected to be light this week. It's very light today. We're trading on the spiders, just 17 million shares. So that just tells us we're going to see another light volume session, barring any major geopolitical event or some kind of big news item. But right now, volume is very, very light. And that helps the market stay buoyant, believe it or not. When the markets see light volume, especially ahead of a holiday, they'll usually hold up pretty well. After the holiday, it could be a whole different can of worms.
Hey, so isn't it also true that it makes it easier to manipulate the market when the volume's down?
Yeah, I mean, you generally, like I just said, you're usually going to see markets float because you just have lack of participation, lack of sellers. So anything can be manipulated a little bit easier with lighter volume. That's always the case. But generally around the holiday, this is not uncommon to see this kind of action. Today is also the last trading day of the month. So that usually gives a favorable upside movement as well.
So today's the last trading day of the month?
Yeah, tomorrow will be the first day of July. So today is the last trading day in the month of June.
Oh, wow, that's unreal. I can't believe we're into July already. So if it finishes on an up note, the market today, Nick, is that a bullish sign necessarily?
Well, that would be a short-term positive. Overall, though, the S&P 500 topped out on the 8th of June, and we've really been doing a lot of backing and filling. So, I never have an argument when that happens. I like to see markets go sideways for a while, build a base, then hopefully I could find the timing behind it and look for the next pop. But generally, when you build that kind of a base, you'll build up a lot of short positions, and then they could get squeezed out. That's generally the catalyst for the next big run. But right now, I think we still got to just continue to look at these markets as choppy to sideways and nothing more until they give us a more clearer signal.
Hey, and gold and silver, they started out the day negative pre-COMEX trading, and now they've turned around?
Yeah, gold is up $18 now. This morning was flat to just slightly negative. And then today you also have silver participating, and that looks to be up about 2.3%. So a really good move for silver today.
Yeah. So, but still kind of the sideways motion. I guess gold's a little bit higher overall with this recent move. It's gone from below 1750 to almost 1780. We're a hair's breadth from 1800 here. Yeah,
gold is at 1799.80 right now. So you're basically 20 cents away from there's 1800 right now as we speak.
1800. Oh my God. And that's the futures.
That's the futures,
contract.
Yeah.
That's the July contract, is that?
That is the August contract.
August rather. Okay. Amazing. And that's going to pull the physical metal along, which right now, the spot market's telling me about 1787. I mean, who would have thought? Well, you and I both thought it, but it just it's incredible.
This is nothing compared to where it's ultimately going to go. So
I know, and the world's currencies are going to go fill the dustbin of history, right?
Well, in due time, not right away, but you're seeing, gold is going up for a reason. I mean, let's face it, central bankers are printing money like it's going out of style. They'll continue to do that. I don't see that stopping anytime soon. And as long as that happens, what are precious metals going to do? They're going to be the alternative. And they're the only real source of money anyway, when you think about it, if you go back to biblical times. So, I mean, I would tell everybody to own some gold. Silver's still cheap, in my opinion, too. So, I mean, if anybody wants to pick up some silver bullion, silver coins, this is not a bad place to do it, because when that takes off, people forget. Silver went to $50 back in 2011, which say they can't do that again or even exceed that.
Yeah, well, in fact, back in 2011, it hit close to 50, but that was not its all-time high. Its all-time high, I believe, was 89 when with the Hunt brothers and all that, it was a few cents higher. So it's the only commodity that has not made a new high in the past 40 years, which says a lot.
Yeah, it does say a lot. And what you got to remember is that when you look at silver, people don't realize, but it has a big industrial use as well.
Yes.
So that's the other side of it, where people do not use gold because it's so hard to get. But gold has a lot of uses as well, but they just don't use it because it's too precious. But silver has a big industrial market, and that's what people need to understand. You're getting, not only a precious metal, but you're getting an industrial metal as well that has practical uses in everything that we do.
Yeah, that's remarkable. So, yeah, gold hit 1,800. Yeah, silver, they often refer to it as the poor man's gold, and really it's trading, 100 to 1, which is kind of a lopsided ratio at best.
Yeah, that's where we are right now, and I tell everybody, don't worry so much about gold right now. If you missed the boat on that, just get into some silver. You'll be okay. It'll be the ultimate insurance policy.
Yeah, don't worry about gold. Just get into some silver. And, told people this. I had Andy Schechtman, who runs milesfranklin.com, on the show, one of the largest bullion dealers in the country. Business is booming. Premiums in March and April were through the roof. $10 an ounce on silver and over $100 on gold. Now they've traced back a bit, but he believes because of the shutdown of mines throughout the world that took place during COVID, during the pandemic, and some of it's still happening. You can't just restart a mine, Nick. It's like restarting a nuclear power plant. You got to do a whole bunch of checklists and procedures before you can restart that mine. And we're going to have a shortage of physical metal come fall, according to Andy.
Well, there's always a possibility of that. And, as central banks are buyers of gold, too. People don't realize that as well. And with printed money, I guess they could buy a lot of it.
Yeah, they can buy whatever they want. And I've always believed that even though the Fed has eschewed gold for decades now, that especially since the last crisis, they've been acquiring it stealthily, and on the scrap market, wherever, they've been buying gold. I'm convinced of it. I don't know where it is. I don't know anything. I just know that they have been acquiring gold. It's just my gut feel, because first and foremost, they know what's going on with the economy better than anyone else.
Well, you got to just think for a minute. When we're looking at a world where every central bank now is in the same camp and doing the same thing, and our Fed here has printed about $7 trillion, I believe, or created $7 trillion. How do they remove that eventually? How do they take that excess out of the system? I don't see how they could do it anytime soon. And that just is really the reason for, gold and silver to continue to climb. I mean, they're not going to go straight up. When markets sell off and pull back, they'll come back in. But there really is no other reason to not own a precious metal. Yeah.
So they're not going to go straight up, as we know. And we've seen what happens when things do go straight up. Hey, what's amazing is you look at a stock like Tesla. It's still going up. It's still like at that $1,000 range.
Yeah, and Tesla is a stock that is a darling of the market. Everybody loves it. And, right now the stock chart is still pretty strong on that company.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's interesting. So, and you can't really buy options on Tesla because they're like really super expensive, right?
Yeah, they're the premiums are outrageous. So that's the thing. I mean, you can do it. I mean, you could always just buy less contracts. But the reality of it is, I mean, the premiums are absolutely, as expensive as you can find. So again, it's a very, very expensive trade any way you slice it or dice it. But it's a darling. It's what we call a market darling. Company that doesn't make really any money, but the market still loves it.
Yeah, well, the key is they're not losing money like every other car company in the planet, Nick, right? Every company is losing money. Maybe Toyota is making a little bit, but nobody's making any money. And but their demand, if you just look at it like McDonald's, they lose money on every burger, but they make up for it in demand, right? That's the Tesla way.
Yeah, I mean, in all fairness, too, it's a pretty neat car. People really enjoy it. They really like the technology in it. They like the whole concept of it. Elon Musk is a really, really good showman. So, I mean, I'll say that much for him. It's caught on, and people really. I mean, my neighborhood. I mean, I must have 20 of them in the next surrounding block, 5 surrounding blocks by my home, but. Again, for me, I'm still not paying up for that.
Yeah, I know what you mean. We got in Florida, because people don't usually drive long distances here. We've got tons of them all over the place, and they keep on improving it. One of the coolest things about the Tesla, and I know I'm digressing from marketing, from our market review here, but one of the most amazing things is the car that you buy from Tesla and the car that you have 2 or 3 years later, other than having the same physical parts for the most part, is a completely different car. It drives differently, it reacts differently, and all of its functions are just, they evolve and they just keep upgrading it. Unlike a regular car, which the day you buy it is its best day and it's all downhill from there.
Well, that's a great testament and a point to why I guess the allure to own that car is so great right now. So I have to say, people that get them, they do seem to love them.
Yep, and it's also a company that a lot of people love to hate, and I can think of a few. But hey, I think the future belongs to a Tesla-like vehicle. Whether they'll be part of the future or not remains yet to be seen. But interesting thing. Can you think of any other stocks like Tesla in the market? Is Amazon like Tesla or
well,
or Google?
Amazon probably was like a Tesla before, when they used to just sell books. Now they market a third party marketer to everybody, right? So they're the ultimate middleman. And they're still evolving. But, there's a new car company out there called Nikola, and I guess they stole the name from Tesla but this car, I saw the chart on this thing. This is another name that went parabolic. It was a stock that was trading around $10 when it debuted, and now it went up to 90. Now it's trading at around $65. So, we'll see if, more competition starts to enter this market. But we got to get through a virus first before we could actually go out and start buying cars again.
Yeah, well, the beauty of Tesla is you don't have to go to the dealer. You just do it online. And actually, the dealer by me in Palm Beach County is open. It's at the mall. Actually, most of their stores are at the mall. It's not really a dealership. It's a showroom. And you just go there and you can test drive the thing. And then you go to the computer and you just type in the options you want. There's only 3 or 4. And then you order the thing. And that's it. So it's fascinating business model. Anything else we should be looking at here, Nick? The travel sector has been universally, I just read an article yesterday by the head of Airbnb. Travel is never going to be what it was before COVID-19. And maybe that'll be to some extent for international travel for other reasons as well. But he's saying that people will be vacationing not in New York City because of safety concerns, but they'll be going to rural areas where there's no crime and where you're safer.
Well, I guess there's some sense to that right now. I mean, but if we ever, did finally get rid of the virus, or people had no more fear of the virus, I think the cities will be in business once again. But right now, I mean, with the media fear that's out there, they're trying to paralyze everybody. So, yeah, you may as well, start looking at vacation places in the mountains of Georgia or something, because there really isn't anywhere else to go.
Yeah, or in the Blue Ridge Mountains there, right?
Yeah, you have to go somewhere, where nobody else is.
Or up to Maine, to the most isolated beach in Maine, but it's cold. It's too cold to swim there.
Yeah, too chilly for me.
Yeah, Maine. But travel charts are still looking pretty good on it.
Yeah, the travel charts are still good. I like the hotel stocks. I own Hyatt right now. I'm looking for that to get a nice little pop. I think we're at a very, very good level. The airline stocks, I mean, they've hung in there. I mean, they're not going to go right back to business anytime soon with the COVID scare. But if that does, alleviate, I think the airline stocks are poised for upside. Right now, though, they're still in that choppy mode, so I've left them alone. But I think you focus on good hotels. I actually think the casino names look decent here as well, if you look at a lot of the casino stocks. So they're looking primed for a little bit of a pop. And again, you just got to really be selective, watch the charts, because you don't know what you're going to wake up one day to the next. I mean, once you thought the economy started to open up, what happened? You got rioting, and you got looting, and you got massive protests, people arm in arm giving each other the virus. And then, they blame it on the reopening. I don't find the reopening to be the case personally. I think that's more political stuff. But all in all, if things calm down and you get, the virus numbers back down, these things will start to emerge back up again. And that's where we are when you got a lot of money in the system.
Hey, absolutely. And we were talking about it earlier, but I'm going to throw out some numbers right now. And Georgia, that reckless state, yesterday, the day before yesterday, they had two COVID-19 deaths. Yesterday, they had 6. Florida had 28, and that's in a state with a population of 22 million people. Texas had 10. Arizona had 0, and California had 33. So, I don't know. Just the number of cases doesn't mean anything. The only thing that matters in the final analysis are deaths, but also hospitalizations. To some extent, they're up a little, but the average hospital stay is down 50% because the treatments out there for this disease, this illness, are much more effective. So I think there'll be a mass coming to understand this by the people of the world here, or the United States, that they're being played.
Yeah, I think people got to turn off the mainstream media and start finding their own reliable news source. And I think once that happens, and that's starting to happen, believe it or not. I mean, my children and my family, my house, we don't watch the mainstream media. We don't watch it at all. And once people start to do that, I think they'll start to get real information, and they'll start to make real good decisions off of that.
Well, we can only hope. In any event, hey, take a look at Nick's site, inthemoneystocks.com, Twitter feeds, at ITMS, at Nick Santiago 01, at Kerry Lutz. And by the way, you'll see Nick's extensive trading record on the site there. A lot of other valuable info there. If you've got a question or a comment, please email us, kl@kerrylutz.com. And Nick, we will pick up tomorrow. This concludes another episode of Daily Market Wisdom with Master Trader Nick Santiago. For more information, go to inthemoneystocks.com and see Nick's full trading record, or check out the Twitter feeds at ITMS and at Nick Santiago 01.